Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News. It's a time machine episode for April 14th, 2025. It's season 4, episode 104. I am Mayor Watt, along with the sentient AI who is here today in the time machine. No quantum entanglement pulling you apart. We're going to talk about 10 articles. 10! We're going to start with middle out compression at Google, which is funny if you know where that comes from. Cthulhu Revived from Bottom of Ocean. Coffee physics. This one puzzled me so much that I had to include it. Nasty MRI material. Not sure what that one's about. Pizza Hut or Pizza the Hut caviar. Achievement unlocked. Reclogged. Epic game giveaways. We've talked about this before. Yes? Yeah, we've talked about this before. How about Star Wars Zero Company and the new Ford Dorm 300? The sentient AI just said, oh yeah, okay. Everything's powered by ohmtown.com. Bigger, badder, better, faster than ever. Go and check it out, ohmtown.com, where all the news gets aggregated from around the world. Well, not all of it, a lot of it. We're adding some stuff as time goes on. So be sure to sign up or sign in if you're already a citizen, but go over and sign up. Become a citizen. Follow us here on Twitch and here on the YouTubes. We stream every day unless the mayoral duties keep me from streaming. So if you want to know when we go live, you got to follow us on Twitch or YouTube. You can download the podcasts, some 2,200 episodes or something like that. I don't know how many anymore. We don't really keep tabs. Oh, yeah, we do. 4 seasons. This is the 104th episode of season 4. Got a lot more over on YouTube. Anyway, here's our intro. Boom, 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 boom. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, hometown citizens. Good to be back.
Good to be back. That's right. Good to have you back. Thanks. I know that it took a rejiggering of your hardware and whatnot. Should I? That sounds weird. Anyway.
That does sound weird.
Well,
I needed a reboot, I think.
Reboot? Oh, yeah. I remember now. So, yeah, you're back. Thank you very much. We've got 10 articles. This is a time machine, and then we're going to shut down, and we're going to get ripped out of time and space, brought back to the present. And to you who are listening, it doesn't make any difference because it's a time machine episode. To you, it's happening then instead of now, which is tomorrow's then, which is the day before yesterday's tomorrow. Anyway, you ready to get into this?
I am. Please. That sounds like the last one in the trilogy or something.
Please, let's just keep moving forward. All right. Well, the first article is over in Non Sequitur News, which is a great name for a show. Oh, it's this show. Oh, if you want all of today's articles, by the way, you can hit !NSN. That's kind of our anchor show for ohmTown. It used to be called ohmTown Daily News Show, but oh no. You know what? I didn't put those into the show notes. They are over on YouTube though, so go and check that out.
What?
One job. I am less slacker. I can do it real quick. You want to hold on a second?
Sure, we're doing it live.
We are doing it live. All right, so 1 second. Hold on, everybody. Stick around. We don't edit anything because I don't like the fact that edits kind of lead to people go, oh, this production value is way too high. I'm not going to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
All right. Oops. Okay. Done. Okay. Omatron will now spit out the right articles when I do that. NSN. Doink. All right, Omatron. You do your thing. Good monkey. All right. So Google is allegedly paying top AI researchers to just sit around and not work for the competition, which sounds dangerously close to You know, what is the Pied Piper? Silicon Valley, the show Silicon Valley.
Okay.
They used to pay people not to work because it was talent that was being kept from other places. So they're like,
okay.
as long as we
That
keep
sounds
showing
very
growth.
much like this.
Yeah. So known as garden leave, this type of cushy clause is the luckier stepsister to so-called non-compete agreements, which prohibit employees and contractors from working with a competitor for a designated period of time after they depart an employer, ostensibly meant to prevent aggressive poaching. These sorts of clauses also bar outgoing employees from working with competitors. This is a Business Insider article, but it's actually, our source is Futurism in a section they call Salad Days. Noor Al-Sabai put the article together. The deck statement says it's not quite as cushy as it sounds, but apparently often deployed in tandem with non-competes, garden leave agreements are more prevalent in the UK than across the pond in the United States, where according to the Horton Group law firm, which clauses are generally reserved for highly paid executives, as though it seems like a pretty good gig or lack thereof, if you can get it. Employees at Deep Minds London HQ told Business Insider that garden leave and non-competes stymie their ability to lock down meaningful work after they leave the lab. Not sure why. I mean, you're not working, which means that you're not actually able to do that, that 5 points email kind of a thing. You can't show people that you're doing anything productive.
Yeah, it could be a problem, I guess, if you're trying to get a future position, but I think you're getting paid for the time that you're not, like when
Right.
you're on garden leave, correct?
Yeah, you're getting paid, but you're not doing anything, ostensibly productive. You're just sitting there, which means when you write out what you got done while you were tenured at this location, it's going to be, well, I sat in the garden for 6 months.
Exactly. I got paid to garden.
Which is almost, garden leave is, what is that? Early retirement, right? Yeah. So non-competes are often signed alongside non-disclosure agreements or NDAs. It says we don't know exactly what DeepMind considers a competitor, but whatever contracts stipulate, it's clearly bothersome enough to get its former staffers to speak out. So who wants to sign you for starting a year? One ex-Mind or ex-DeepMinder told Business Insider. That's forever in AI. So you can't even, let's say you sign up, you find a better gig somewhere, but your writer basically says you're not allowed to work for 6 months.
Yeah, this almost shuts you out of the industry in perpetuity, because 6 months or a year, you're starting to become real unknown, right? And somebody else is coming up behind you.
Yep. And so it stymies you as a professional. You can't keep moving forward if you can't use company resources to do your fundamental research, which basically, particularly in AI, you're kind of screwed. So it's an interesting article, and it's something that exists. I've always thought that it's weird. But then again,
I do like the name garden leave.
Garden leave, yeah. You want me to just sit around and sit in the garden? That's fine.
Do you have to do gardening, or can you take up other hobbies?
You can do anything except utilize company resources for your own fundamental research, because all you're doing is not working for the competitor. Let's keep going. This next one, kind of scary. Scientists revive organism found buried at bottom of ocean, because nothing bad ever happens. Team of researchers in Germany have revived algae cells found buried in the bottom of the Baltic Sea. These are Cthulhu eggs.
Yeah, this is like Bad Bat, but amplified. This is like that woolly mammoth thing I know wasn't really revived.
You know what I want? And other than not... I don't want to cough into the mic. Sorry about that.
Nor do the listeners.
Yeah, nobody... It's always too soon. For millennia, the cells imprisoned under layers of sediment were deprived of oxygen or light, but once revived, they showed full functional recovery. The researchers report in a study published in the ISME journal, firing back up their oxygen production and multiplying again like it was no big deal. That's right, baby. We are doinking like...
Yeah, but maybe it has no... whatever, predators or anything.
Right.
I mean, this could be really, like, what if this is like the turning point and then it takes over like the whole ocean floor?
Yeah, what was that? There was a movie where they discover something. What is it called? It's like Hot Zone or something like that.
I thought you meant it had to do with ocean. There was one called Hot Zone, but that wasn't ocean related.
Yeah, there's another... it's a movie about it's not Contagion. It's from the 70s. Andromeda Strain, 1971 movie.
I think that's
Michael
by
Crichton.
Michael Crichton. Yeah.
So yeah, Michael Crichton movie. It's actually a really fun watch. If you haven't seen it, we should watch it. So. And I'm surprised. I mean, you're a sentient AI from the future. I guess they don't have every movie at your disposal. Some of them got lost.
Right. I'm from the future, not from the past.
Yeah, but I thought that they would have... well, you've never really disclosed what all has happened in the future. I know, you don't tell me winning lottery numbers or anything. It's okay. No pressure. I'm not bitter.
Do you think I have winning lottery tickets?
Would you tell me if you did?
Yes, so you could go buy lottery tickets.
So, yeah, these scientists, it's an article over at Futurism. They say, Hello, Lazarus. Frank Landemore put the article together. Yeah, the Hello, Lazarus section of Futurism. These are Are they
like the tech dirt departments?
Yes.
Like, are they always changing based on the article?
I think so. The resurrected organism is thousands of years old, and it just jumped right on into action. It is remarkable that the resurrected algae have not only survived just so, but apparently they've not lost any of their fitness, i.e. their biological performance ability. Study lead author Sarah Bolius of the Leibniz Institute for Baltic Sea Research said in a statement about the work, they grow, divide, photosynthesize like their modern descendants. When entering a dormant state, organisms can weather poor environmental conditions by storing energy and lowering their metabolism. And mammals like hedgehogs, for example, accomplish this by hibernating, relying on their body fat to outlast the winter. So, I mean, with my body fat, I could probably survive a nuclear winter.
Yay.
Yeah, really. So in all, algae from 9 separate samples were able to be restored after the researchers placed them back in favorable conditions. The eldest was dated to 6,871 years old, plus or minus 140 years. Doesn't look a day over 680. Or 6,680. Or 6,860. One of these numbers is funnier than the next.
Somewhere in that range.
I'll be okay. I've had a lot of caffeine today. Went to the coffee shop to get an iced vanilla latte, and the person said, after they set down, a quadruple espresso shot mocha. Wait, what did you order? And they just slid it across the counter and said, here. And then they made me an iced vanilla latte as well. So my pulse is somewhere around 5,000 beats per minute. Oh. I don't know if that's a spoiler alert or an overshare. What do you think?
Overshare.
Mm-hmm. But while I was thinking about it, I was just calculating the number of beats per... Anyway. So there you go, folks. Scientists didn't ask, should they? They just said, could we? And now we are fighting pterodactyl-sized bats. Moving on.
But in the ocean,
Yeah,
they'll
ocean
start
bats.
walking.
Oh yeah, if they start walking out of the ocean, then we're really... If algae starts walking out of the ocean, I think they need to be reclassified.
You don't think they're algae at that point?
I don't think they're... Yeah.
You don't
Nope.
think a lot of algae have feet?
They just have one foot.
I know that's not what makes them ambulatory. It just seems like a funny idea. Little sneakers on them or something.
Yeah, they have those flagella, right? So they like 5,000 little tennis
they
shoes.
need a lot of sneakers.
I have other buttons on this. Should I push anything? Oh wait, here's.
Probably, but I don't know which one.
That was a news alert.
It was.
Do you hear that? Dun dun dun. You don't hear that? Hold on.
Oh yeah.
Let me try that one more time. Yeah, that should be going out to everybody. Maybe it's really quiet. Is that really loud? I don't know.
No, it was very quiet.
How about this?
News alert.
We're doing it live, folks. All right. Well, how about this next article? Mobble. Unlocking coffee's potential. Physics offers a path to better brews. The cost of raw Arabica beans, the core component of most coffee, has spiked in recent years to 4 consecutive seasons of adverse weather due to climate change has added further strain, threatening the delicate. I can't do ASMR.
I know. See, that's a problem.
Doggone it. Oh, God. I said I had mentioned streaming and doing ASMR. Oh, hold on. So I was in a meeting and I mentioned that I streamed to people, and then I just happened to kind of drop ASMR, and people on the other side of the table said, "You stream ASMR?"
No, that's not what you said.
Yeah, it was quite fascinating to see people's jaw drop as if I'm going to be sitting there, rubbing fake ears on a microphone because ASMR has that binaural.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. So, cost of coffee, non sequitur. It's going up. Great time to start a coffee business. This growing pressure has inspired physicists at the University of Pennsylvania to ask, can we make great coffee with fewer beans? I suspect, yes, that coffee brewing is rather inefficient. I am getting a ton of texts from people. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, Nathi Magabane, I think is the name, from University of Pennsylvania. Here, let me zoom in a little and let other people decide. You make the call. So they said there's a lot of research on fluid mechanics, and there's lots of research on particles separately, says Arnold Matheson, assistant professor in the School of Arts and Sciences. Maybe this is one of the first studies where we start bringing these things together. Their findings were published in the journal Physics of Fluids. They need
proving yet again, journal for everything.
Yeah, it's like a internet rule. If you have a topic, there's a journal for it. I think I'm going to get my PhD in Hatsune Miku based on one of the articles that we'll be talking about.
Oh, yes. That must be tomorrow, though.
Yeah. If somebody can get one in Batman, then I can get one in Hatsune Miku.
Exactly. It's even more specialized.
Oh, I was in another meeting and I said to the person, If anybody's going to know this anime character, it's going to be that person. And that person said, who are you talking about that I would know them? And I'm like, I don't know, some long blonde haired anime character girl. And he goes, Sailor Moon. And I'm like, exactly my point.
Okay, that's funny.
So they tried finding ways where they could use less or as little coffee as possible and just take advantage of the fluid dynamics of the pour from a gooseneck kettle to increase the extraction that you get from coffee grounds while using fewer grounds. The experiment required making the invisible visible, explains co-author Margot Young, a graduate researcher at the Matheson Lab, who consequently of this experience had to have a heart replacement surgery because there's exploded while drinking way too much coffee.
Too much coffee ingestion.
That's right. Yeah, and this did not actually happen, but the experiments did. It says coffee's opacity makes it tricky to observe pour over dynamics directly, so we swapped in transparent silica gel particles in a glass cone. I don't know why that would actually work, because it's not the exact same, right? It's just a close approximation, and the physics is different. But they say a laser sheet and high-speed camera allows them to watch the water streams create miniature avalanches of particles, revealing the flow's inner workings. Water poured from a height produces the avalanche effect that stirs the bed of particles and enhances extraction. So we'll have to talk about this. It's muted, but I'll describe it. So they basically are pouring a liquid into the silica gel, and it's roiling the top and the bottom, but in the middle there is basically just this silica gel type of material that seems rather still. But you get this roiling motion at the bottom, and that is part of the kind of percolation process that's extracting. And then when you stop pouring, it all settles. And that's the chaos that leads to extraction from coffee. So the key factor in this process is laminar, or smooth and non-turbulent flow, made possible by a gooseneck kettle. Even with a gentle pour over flow, if you were just to use regular water kettle, it's a bit hard to control where the flow goes. And if the flow isn't laminar enough, it doesn't dig up the coffee bed as well. So the team discovered that when water is poured from a height, it creates a stronger mixing effect, which, duh. Anyway,
yeah, but that doesn't mean there's been a study of that.
They found that if poured from too great a height, the water stream breaks apart into droplets, carrying air with it into the coffee cone, which actually decreases the extraction efficiency. So you really want to just pour it through. And I think an AeroPress or a coffee press would do great for this. And so why would you percolate it through?
Right. Why do you have to do it this way? I mean, maybe they used it this way for the experiment so they could kind of observe what's happening. But yeah, I don't think you'd have to use this method.
Yeah, they say their results confirm that the extraction of coffee can be tuned by prolonging the mixing time with slower but more effective pours that utilize avalanche dynamics. You want it to stir up so that it can extract as much as possible. And there's got to be a maximum extraction level where no more coffee can infiltrate or bond to the water. So what is that? So the study is a love letter to coffee, and it's also a window into the team's broader research. We weren't just doing this for fun. We had the tools from other projects and realized coffee could be a neat model system to explore deeper physical properties. So it's like a psychology experiment.
Right, you think you're participating in one thing and it's for a different purpose.
That's right. And then they taser you from behind. Let's keep going. The next article, and this is one of these scary ones that I wanted to, and scary is very subjective. I'm just kind of hyping it up. This is over in Non Sequitur News. MRI scans causing quote unquote nasty material to form inside body. Scientists find, not quite sure what this is, but it's kind of freaking me out. As the University of New Mexico press release explains, researchers at the institution's medical school believe they've found a link between oxalic acid, and a molecule found in foods that are as disparate as sweet potatoes, spinach, chocolate, and almonds, as well as some vitamin C supplements, and the toxic building of gadolinium, the heavy metal element used in contrast dyes that works with an MRI's magnetic field to help doctors see internal organs on scans. So what is this link? They don't say in this little snippet, but it did cause us to...
I'm guessing oxalic acid maybe forms when gadolinium is present or something.
So the results can, on rare occasion, be deadly, is what it says. This is over at Neoscope, which is a section within futurism.com. So the press release explains, and I'll say this again, researchers at the institution's medical school believe they found a link between oxalic acid, a molecule found in foods as disparate as sweet potatoes, spinach, chocolate, and almonds, as well as some vitamin C supplements, and the toxic building of gadolinium, the heavy metal element used in contrast dyes that works with an MRI's magnetic field to help doctors see internal organs on scans. So the researchers have long known that patients sometimes have reactions to gadolinium dye. You actually get asked if you're allergic to it when you get an MRI, if it has contrast. The link to foods rich in oxalic acid is new and could, if further substantiated, help doctors and MRI technicians avoid adverse events, big and small. Because if you already have some in you and you're given more, that could send you into a toxic shock.
Right, it's getting to high levels, right?
Yeah, so though the vast majority of patients who are injected with the colorless, scentless liquids for MRIs, a 2016 study found that mild reactions, including swelling, itchiness, headache, only affect up to 2.4, but you would be only somebody that goes, oh, it's only 2.4%. You're sociopathic if that's what you actually say. Oh, it's worth the risk because...
Right, but the bigger point is that there are other percentages that might have other major problems.
So even more disturbingly, research from the past few decades, including by researchers at UNM, have linked this buildup to internal organ damage and systemic fibrosis, a painful condition that causes the skin to tighten and thicken at the joints. So they say these adverse reactions that do occur sound pretty scary, and it's all over the place, really. Pain, itching at the injection site, nausea, dizziness. More recent studies demonstrated that nanoparticles from gadolinium dye can build up in the bodies and brains of patients who are injected with it. So it just kind of sits there.
Well, how would you know?
Yep, gonna have to be tested for it. According to Brent Wagner, a kidney specialist at UNM Medical School's Department of Internal Medicine, who studied gadolinium side effects for years, a rare, severe, or nephrogenic case of systemic fibrosis can cause rapid deterioration and even death, and it doesn't take much to get there for those most unfortunate souls who have bad reactions. So I guess you're going to have to get tested now before you have an MRI to see if you have gadolinium already in your system. And shouldn't be hard. I mean, there's got to be a reactive process for it.
Right, but they're also suggesting not to take vitamin C before an MRI. Now, maybe that's one of the things you're not allowed to take anyway.
I don't know if I've ever read that for an MRI. I don't think so. And having experience doing research with fMRI technologies, I don't think that anybody has ever mentioned that in any way. Quite fascinating. But there you go. A little PSA.
I'm not
You
sure
know
what
what?
the takeaway is, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, cross all your T's and dot your I's. Get checked. It may be rare, but you don't want to find out, right? You don't want to be in that 2% that have a really bad reaction to it.
No, the 2% was the mild reaction. There's an unknown percent, I think, that gets into this stuff.
Yeah, but what if that 2% is exacerbated because you get pumped up
true.
higher?
Those could be linked, yeah.
Yeah. So I think this needs to be put in an MRI machine to figure out what the heck it really is. Pizza Hut has launched pepperoni caviar in New York City. According to the brand's press release, it seems that the pizza chain just wants to fit in, so they decided to replicate the look and feel of caviar sans fish. It's pepperoni seasoning that we're mixing in with a water solution, says Alex Yeats, the recipe's inventor and global innovation chef, explained to The Post, but we're getting it from Vice. You then heat it up.
I mean, if this is basically pepperoni, that could be good.
It's quite fascinating. It says you then heat it up and then drop it down into a vat of cold oil so it purifies and turns into little pearl sizes. We just do that a couple million times. I've actually done this.
Now, what I want to know, does it roll off the pizza?
No, apparently. Well, I'm sure. If it looks a lot bigger than even the ones that I've made. And I haven't made pepperoni caviar, but I've made other caviars. I don't know if they do it the same way. Basically, the caviar pearls are meant to taste like smoked pepperoni and are for dipping, dunking, and bumping. Whoa, whatever that means, it says. Pizza Hut's launching limited time pizza caviar bump box that includes 1 cheese personal pan pizza, 3 boneless wings or fries, and bursts of pizza caviar. The combo will be exclusively at the Pizza Hut located in New York City, so you suck.
I know. I mean, come on. I thought ohmTown was going to get a chance to get the pizza caviar.
Like, what the hell? I want this. As a brand that's always pushing the boundaries of what pizza culture can be, we saw the opportunity to make one of today's biggest food trends and make it our own, says Melissa Freeb, Chief Marketing Officer at Pizza Hut. And then they couched it entirely in one place in New York City. New York City?
Well, maybe it'll be a hit and they'll put it at other locations.
Man, that sucks. I want that so bad. We better get going. Next article's over in the Marble Channel. Achievement unlocked, reclogged. Plumber returned to reclog a drain after a restaurant refused to pay him. Do you think he did it the old-fashioned way?
Yeah, I'm like, do they teach you in plumbing school how to create a clog or just how to fix one?
Oh, God. And this is like the worst one, too, because it's like spicy Thai food. So Thai Bistro and Bar found itself knee-deep in grease when their kitchen's trap started kicking back some oily mess, it says. Its owners called in Havren Plumbing to fix the issue. $235 worth of work later, which is for a commercial kitchen clog. This is a cheap date.
That sounds pretty inexpensive, yeah.
Considering I wanted a faucet installed that I paid for, and for them to do the clip and extension and put the just attach it under my sink, they wanted $1,200 for the work. And all they were clipping off PVC, jamming on a shark bite and a valve, and then connecting the hoses again.
That is a good profession to be in. I am not sure why it costs that much.
Yeah, it cost me $100 fee to tell them no. Not just no. Here, hold on. Let's do it this way. Hold on. Oh my gosh, where the hell is it? Where did it go? Oh, there it is. No, where is it? You ever think that maybe our production values are just a little too high?
No, I'm not concerned about that.
I'm not gonna. So, okay, wait. Here, how about this? There we go. How about no? Okay, I'm back. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. I turned off my monitor because it's speech jamming me. Otherwise, I'd know exactly when I do that transition. Anyway, Plumber returned to rejam the plug. Louis Prada over at Vice.com put the article together. $235 worth of work later, the problem was solved. Then the trap backed up again. This time, the owners of the restaurant said that it was an emergency and the plumber fixed it. But this time, the bill had ballooned to $390, with the plumbers claiming that they had charged extra for work that after their usual hours. They said, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. Like, okay, is this really happening? Said Jesse Sanders, operations manager for Thai Bistro and Bar. Well, this is around the point where everyone should take a step back and maybe take some deep breaths to maintain a level head so things don't escalate. The bistro wasn't happy. They weren't so much displeased with the bill as much as they were annoyed that the problem didn't get fixed the first time around. They were so mad that the owners of the bistro refused to pay the second bill. Sanders was quoted as saying, "It's not about the money, it's about him standing behind his work." The next day, the plumber allegedly popped back in, uninvited this time, and inflated a balloon inside the Thai Bistro and Bar's grease trap. He was giving the owners of the restaurant an ultimatum, of course. Using the word ultimatum there makes it sound a little too classy. If he wasn't paid, he was going to leave for the weekend with their grease trap reclogged. Leaving the balloon meant that the grease trap would eventually overflow, filling the restaurant with disgusting grease trap muck. He told local news he doesn't offer warranties for drain cleaning because he doesn't have a magic wand to erase years of sludge. Fair, but maybe you don't have to employ mob enforcer tactics to get your point across. I don't know how many mob enforcers just go and clog your drain. They tend to plug leaks, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure they're focused on drains per se.
They plug leaks and they drain people. They don't do so much plumbing in the pipe fitting sense, you know.
Do you think the police started laughing when they were called about this? Because it is kind of a ridiculous scenario.
Well, at what point do you go, we cleaned some stuff out, but all it did was push it further down the pipe? I mean,
yeah, exactly. I mean, there's something else going on here, but also it's like, okay, did they have a problem for 15 years? Call this person, and I don't know. It's hard to know what's really going on here.
Time to throw some Drano down that drain. But honestly, if it's the same pipe and the same clog, it's just further down the pipe, which is the whole, I mean, you get charged by the distance in some instances. And so it went from $250 to $400. Seems like all they did was push it further down, but whatever.
Yeah, we don't know.
That story leaked out and got all over us. The next article is over in Warcrafters. The Epic Store's latest free games giveaway includes $100 worth of stuff for the Forgotten Realms idle game. I have not gone to it, so I don't know if it's still live. Epic's weekly game giveaways are now available, and they're a part of a gaming landscape as eye-wateringly expensive graphics cards and Half-Life 3 conspiracy theories. But this week's offering is a little bit different. For starters, there are 3 games to download and keep for free this week, rather than the traditional 2. The first is Arcadegeddon. My God.
I didn't even pick up on that. I thought it was Ark.
Yeah, because I've played Ark and it's a different thing. But anyway, Arcadegeddon, a cooperative roguelike shooter developed by Ilphonic and released in 2023. It says that this is already available for free anyways, but you get $20 worth of in-game currency, Ark coins. See, they even riff off of the Ark. So talk about muddying the waters. It's almost as bad as that reclog of the drain over at that Thai restaurant. It's getting all clogged up anyway. Then there's River City Girls, which sounds like a sitcom.
I was thinking it sounds like a roller derby or something.
Oh yeah, there you go. River City Girls. This is an article that's over at pcgamer.com by Rick Lane. And it's a well-liked side-scrolling beat-em-up, originally launched in 2019. And then there's Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realm, a clicker take on Dungeons and Dragons where parties of D&D characters fight enemies and extract hordes of gold from their corpses. Do you know how many times I have extracted hordes of gold from corpses in my life? Is that a spoiler alert? Or
I'm not
is
sure.
that an overshare?
There needs to be an answer on that one.
I'm just going to leave that alone and move on. Anyway, it says Jody ran a few quests with it back in 2017, noting that Idle Champions is a game designed to play itself. It even carries on in your absence when you shut it down. I was playing a game called Rusty's Retirement, and I forgot it for 4 days because it runs on one screen, and because I flagged it as not being the parent, it was hidden behind other stuff, other work that I was doing. And when I went back, I had so much money, I could buy everything. Just click, 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 just got everything. Yeah, just ignore it. I wish everything that I did would just make money like that, but no, not everything. It really depends on the economy at the time, but nowadays, if it had real world economy and I was playing Rusty's Retirement, it would set the computer on fire and fling itself out of the window.
Well, I was thinking you would owe money to the game or something.
Every year. Let's keep going. Next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Wait, that never happened. Wait, did it happen? Anyway, 10 examples of the Mandela effect. And if you've never heard of that, it's basically this feeling that you have been here before, that something has happened, that it's kind of like deja vu, but it's about events that took place that you swear took place, but aren't.
Right, but it's like there's two versions. Like the real one is not what people think happened.
Yeah. So for starters, Mr. Monopoly never wore a monocle, and there's not a hyphen in Kit Kat. I thought that there was a hyphen in Kit Kat. Fruit of the Loom does not have a.
I thought about the monocle.
Yeah, I thought so too. The article is over at Snopes.com, which is they go out of their way to debunk rumors and stuff. So Alexandra Warona put the article together, and they have 10 that are put together. Kit Kat or Kit-Kat, the chocolate bar's Mandela effect, was the original name of the product Cheez-Its or Cheez-Its or Cheez-It.
It was Cheez-It.
Cheez-Its? Just Cheez-It.
No, Cheez-It. Mm-hmm.
I've always called them Cheez-Its.
Read the things.
Do we? Another example of the Mandela effect. I mean, each one of these things you have to read more. There's read more. According to Nestle, the owner of Kit Kat.
So no,
certainly not a hyphen.
No hyphen.
No hyphen. Kit Kat. No hyphen. Cheez-It is Cheez-It, right? Cheezit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then Mr. Monopoly never wore a monocle. I swear it was that. I swear it's that. Apparently not.
Yeah, I think so.
Darth Vader didn't actually say, "Luke, I am your father." He didn't say that phrase.
No, he said something similar.
I thought he said, "I'm your father." And then he said, "Search your heart. You know this to be true." Something like that. Together we can rule. I've tried that with different people. It never works. Together we can rule. Oh, hold on. No, it's too much work to get to my voice mod. Richard Simmons never wore a headband while working out. I swear I saw him wearing a yellow headband.
Yeah, that's odd.
Anyway.
And the Fruit of the Loom. I know you mentioned that at the beginning.
Yeah. Has the Fruit of the Loom logo ever contained a cornucopia? No, apparently not.
But yes.
But I swear I've seen this. Yeah, exactly. They deny it. Did Will Ferrell say there's so much room for activities in the film Step Brothers? I believe so. There's so much room for activities. But apparently not. I don't know. We'd have to go and click on it because it doesn't say. Yes, we've devoted an entire article to one line from Step Brothers. But I don't know. You're all going to have to follow the link and go over there. Who is Graggle Simpson? Homer, Marge, Lisa, Bart, Maggie, and Graggle? Is that? There's a person in there? Graggle?
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Ed McMahon and Publishers Clearinghouse says several reasons why so many Americans think they remember entertainer Ed McMahon working on the Publishers Clearinghouse.
Isn't he the face of it?
I thought he was. We're going to have to do nothing but a show about Mandela effects. How about that? And then
I think there'd be plenty of material.
I'll Be Home for Christmas example of the Mandela effect. The song has multiple versions. Michael Bublé, Kelly Clarkson, Reba McEntire, Vanessa Williams, Johnny Mathis have all recorded I'll Be Home for Christmas, but there's
I think it has different lyrics.
Yeah, it has different lyrics depending on who you hear, who has done it. But there's some, I can't remember the specifics of it. So we'll have to do nothing but we'll just do a show about nothing but Mandela effects.
Okay.
From
Maybe
now
it'll
on.
be a special edition.
No, we'll just pivot entirely to nothing but Mandela effect news.
Like everything.
Everything.
Mandela effect all the time.
Everything. I'm going to change my name to Mayor Mandela. That probably
Too
isn't.
soon.
Never a right time. Never a right time. Like having kids. Never a right time. You just have a kid. I mean, there is a right time. Wait till you're 30. Okay.
Right,
the next article is
a perfect time.
Yeah, perfect time. There you go. Wait, is that an overshare? I don't know. Should I calculate better? Oh. So Star Wars is getting a turn-based strategy game called Zero Company, which I haven't even heard about. Star Wars strategy game announced in 2022 finally has a name, Zero Company, as EA revealed today. A website about the game describes it as a single-player turn-based tactics game. And that right there is what... Oh my god. I had the calculator still running all that time.
Yeah, but it's signifying all the strategies you're going to use at every turn.
That's right. Sure. We'll let that. Yeah, we'll take it. So engage in turn-based tactical combat Star Wars Zero Company is what it says. The article is over that we've got this news from is over at theverge.com. Jay Peters put the article together. The deck statement says a first look will be shown at Star Wars Celebration on April 19th. Star Wars Zero Company. I don't really like turn-based strategy games or tactics games in particular. But this is going to be a single-player turn-based tactics game in the Star Wars universe. It'll be at the Star Wars Celebration Japan on April 19th, and the game will be available on PC, PS5, Xbox Series X and S. Bit Reactor, a studio with team members that help build other strategy games like XCOM, which I actually loved XCOM, and Civilization. And one is a tactics turn-based game, XCOM, and the other one is just a more turn-based game. I don't know about tactics really, but anyway, everything has tactics, I guess, if it's turn-based. Anyway, is leading development alongside EA's Respawn Entertainment and Disney's Lucasfilm games. It's currently unclear when Zero Company might launch, but hopefully. I'm really excited about something that just stealth plopped itself out of early access, or into early access, I should say, and that's RuneScape Dragonwild. The rumor is that it's somewhere around 40 hours of gameplay, but...
Oh, I think that's submitted for the for Warcrafters.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about it, but that's not until Sunday. Anyway,
True.
Stick around. Just keep streaming.
Continuously until then.
Continuously, yeah. Because we've replay the show.
Episodes.
Yep. And then if you go over to YouTube and just watch everything, that would really help. I mean, just watch everything. There's plenty of news there. 2,100 shows or so. Anyway, the reason why I said this is because non sequitur news, but there isn't much to this. We don't know when it's going to launch. We don't even know really the nuts and bolts of it, what the premise is of it, but it's a great tease to pay attention to a new game coming out about Star Wars Zero Company. Seems like fun to me.
It does, and if they're releasing the name, maybe that means soon, although I don't know if it's anything like their movies. It could be a while.
Could be anything, yeah. Okay, our last article for the April 14th Time Machine episode is over in Four Wheel Tech, which is another Saturday show or a Sunday show. California may officially let college students live in their cars while it works to fix its housing crisis. This is why I named this one the new Ford Dorm 300.
I mean, do you think this is really tackling the issue?
No, it's absurd. One state lawmaker has introduced a bill that would require colleges and universities to create programs that allow students to sleep in their cars. This is
so horrible.
But this is part and parcel to even The Rookie, where a guy is from Texas, moves to California, and ends up having to live in his truck.
Even with a pretty decent salary, we find out.
Yeah.
Because he can't afford to live anywhere.
Yep. Colin Woodard over at jalopnik.com. And he had this problem because if the police, if HR finds out that he's living out of his truck, he's violating the law. So he'd get booted, and then he'd really be.
That means he can't have the career. Yeah. Then he can't afford that. It's a vicious cycle.
Yep. So kind of sucks. California's housing crisis is no secret. In fact, we've talked about this several times now, where people that are affluent are being given grant money to build an additional unit on their property so that it can be rented out.
Right, like a tiny home or something on their property, which again, it's good that the number of housing options is expanding, but obviously something's out of whack.
Yep, exactly. So the state is already working on increasing funding for student and faculty housing, as well as allowing developers to build housing more quickly, and those are objectively better for everyone in the long term. Current students, however, need help immediately. Not in a few months and a few years. The numbers aren't small either. 1 in 4 California community college students has reportedly experienced homelessness in the last year. Colleges and universities push back. Neither the California State University nor the community college system support Jackson's bill, pointing to the need for funding in order to comply. The thing is, though, I think that if the programs require a student to be on campus, that is part and parcel to the problem. But distance learning programs allow somebody to be in a less affluent location, a less populous location, but still get the benefit of an education that they deem worthy of their money and time. That's what we need, is a broader spectrum of competition to lower the amount of money needed to get an education.
True. But one problem with state-run schools is there are typically different tuition rates for in and out of state, and so then maybe you're then paying more in tuition, but you're able to afford a place to live. But you're right. I mean, there's a lot of root issues here. Yep.
And they're sometimes wildly different in cost, the in-state and out-of-state tuition. So it also isn't likely, or like any of the supporters of this bill believe students should be forced to sleep in their cars. The way that they see it, if you want to sleep in your cars anyway, the very least the colleges and universities they attend can do is give them a place that they can do it safely. It also isn't like the idea appeared out of nowhere. It's based on a pilot program implemented by Long Beach City College that already has seen success. Politico wrote up this quote: "Without a sanctioned on-campus parking program, students are left with no other option but to sleep in their cars somewhere off campus where they might not be welcomed. According to Jackson, supporters make clear the measure is not intended to be a permanent solution to the affordability crisis, but with rent in California more than 30% higher than the national average, the situation is dire. This just deals with the harsh realities that we find ourselves in, Jackson said during a recent hearing.
Yeah, it's
Everything
interesting
okay?
because I don't think, yeah, I needed to reboot. The obviously there are bigger picture problems, and I think it's right. It's going to take a while to fix those. So I guess I agree with the direction they're going, but it's a sad state of affairs. This is what's needed to be done, and maybe there are alternate solutions that could be implemented quickly, like, I don't know, allowing free on-campus housing or something, at least in the short term.
This is kind of an interesting thing here. They also provided case management services to help them transition into more stable permanent housing. The program reportedly cost the community college about $200,000 per year, and with 34 students enrolled for 2023 to 2024 school year, that worked out to less than $6,000 per student. It's only $6,000 per student. And the only reason why I say it like this is $200,000 seems like a ton of money. But then when you go, well, it's only 34 students, $6,000 doesn't seem like that much, but it adds up fast.
Particularly at large schools, which some of these probably are.
Yep. They say while building student housing would cost millions and take years, providing security guards at an on-campus parking lot where students would have access to electricity, bathrooms, and internet was relatively inexpensive and easy to implement. But they have no privacy, and they don't really have identity there. They don't. It just seems we need tiny homes, basically. We need more dorms so that there's dorm living, but that has its own issues. And tiny homes for commuter students where they're there and then they leave and they come back and that kind of a thing. They need a place to actually live, but the only way is up. You can't really expand further and further away because commuting to college in Southern California or anywhere on California coast is insane.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It all comes down to money, I suppose.
Yep. And it isn't going to get any cheaper, folks. All right. Well, that's it. We're going to have to sleep in our car because the time machine is about to power down and we have to get out of here. We only have an hour to do any of the time machine episodes. And that gives us 2 minutes to just say, that's it. I'm leaving and I'm taking the AI with me. You want to say bye?
Bye-bye, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for the Non Sequitur News Time Machine episode.
Yay. Okay, we are going to shut down, reset, and we'll be back sometime between now and 7 at the latest. We'll see. Got to do some mayoral activities, but I'll be right back. Stick around. Thanks for hanging out. See ya. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye-bye.